Welcome, beautiful Paris Saint-Germain family. Just woke up, yesterday we were there from 4 p.m., 5 hours before the game, watched the game, and then had the post-match podcast for about 5 hours discussing this game. So I know more about this game. I have more opinions about this game. The first thing before we go into the player stuff once again, because I know more about the stuff. We rewatched a lot of clips, a lot of comps. I get to know more about the performance and remember more about the performance. But before we talk about the performance and the individual stuff, I just want to look at the optics. I just want to look at the optics that are seen now. First of all, Paris Saint-Germain is one of the most dominant sides Europe has ever seen. In 2025 alone, people would like to call us 2025. In 2025 alone, we beat Manchester City from Premier League, Arsenal from Premier League, Liverpool from Premier League, Aston Villa from Premier League, Tottenham Hotspur from Premier League, only Chelsea. Bayern, we beat them from the Bundesliga. We beat Atletico Madrid, smacked Real Madrid, and just beat FC Barcelona, including having the greatest Champions League final of all time. Yes, the narrative after that is that Inter are so ass and everything. But that was the team that scored 7 against Barca and only conceded 6 across 2 legs. Whilst Paris Saint-Germain absolutely thumped them 5-0. We have to be honest with ourselves. I'm not trying to be recency bias and I'm not trying to be Paris Saint-Germain bias. But when was the last time a team got tested so much in the Champions League, in the Club World Cup, and then in the following Champions League season, and beaten all the teams, and a lot of them with quite easy. Even yesterday's game, yes, it was a 2-1 tight victory for PSG, and Barca had some chances, fair play to them. But I've never seen FC Barcelona be absolutely controlled as we did them in the second half. I've watched most Barca games on the flick, especially the big games, the El Clásicos, the Champions League ties, even though Barca didn't play that many big Champions League games. I mean, you got Bayern and Inter. That's basically it. And I've never seen flick side be dominated as they were in that second half. We pressed them so hard. They could not get the ball. They were just clearing it. Yamal, there were moments where he didn't touch the ball for 15 minutes because of our dominant control. And Barca are fortunate. Why? Because I said before this game, for me, the expectation and what Paris Saint-Germain should be aiming for is keeping a clean sheet and maximum conceding 1 goal. And even the goal we conceded, it came off a mistake. Barca are fortunate to have scored the goal in this game. But then I knew we were going to score against Barca because, first of all, Paris Saint-Germain is Paris Saint-Germain. And second of all, Barcelona is not the best defensively. And Paris Saint-Germain got the 2 goals. But the expectations and predictions would have been different if we had our best teams. If Barca had their best team and coming in with better form, Yamal not coming back from injury, I would have been, knowing that Barca were going to, do more stuff offensively. But Paris Saint-Germain, at least Barca, they had Rashford, they had Yamal, they had Ferran Torres, who got a goal, fair play to him. But imagine if PSG had Dembele, Khvicha. We even missed João Neves in that midfield, who was my man of the match prediction for this game. I thought he was going to be man of the match. Obviously, he did not play. So, because the thing is, I agree. This Barca team will be stronger if you bring Juan Garcia into the goal, if players are in better form, if Olmo is better form. I mean, De Jong was supposedly in good form, but he's just not a good player. So I guess what Barca will hope for is that Flick gives minutes to Bernal, and Bernal just, takes that huge leap this season. Rafinha coming in for Rashford, and then Lewandowski going in for Ferran with better form, and, Yamal not coming straight back from injury. But Paris Saint-Germain will also be stronger with all of the players coming back. I mean, Vitinha was pushed to start this game. He was not 100% fit. That was known before the game. Even Fabio Ruiz was rested in the last game. So yes, Barca can be stronger, but Paris Saint-Germain can be even stronger. And that's where I want to ask the question. I asked it on Twitter. Who is stopping Paris Saint-Germain from going back-to-back? Who is stopping Paris Saint-Germain from going back-to-back? And I know going back-to-back is really difficult, is really tough. I have never underrated that. That's also why I want it. I like the tough stuff. That's why I want a tough group stage. That's why I want a tough knockout stage. Because, The tough stuff is what makes you tough. That's why Paris Saint-Germain is such a tough team. Because we've been tested. We've been tested by all of Europe's teams. We've come out as the winners in 99% of all of those games. Like, imagine we won that Club World Cup, man. But you know what? Let's give something to Europe. Because we're going to dominate. We're going to dominate. I mean, look, well, La Liga. We beat Barca. Yes, Barca can be stronger, but we will also be stronger. So I think we'll still win. Madrid. Nah. Bayern. Let's put Bayern to the side for the meanwhile. City A, nothing. Premier League. Arsenal, tough team to beat. But I don't rate them at that level. And I think if we play them, we'll just beat them again. Liverpool, I think we'll beat them. City, I mean, easy. Chelsea would love a revenge. But they do not look that good at all. So the only team, Barca and Bayern, as the top 2 and 3rd behind Paris Saint-Germain. We got Bayern. Bayern, luckily we're going to play them in the group stage. And once again, do not let us win that game. If we win that game, what's the point in playing all the knockout games? Yes, PSG, you know, maybe goes to a tight game, a penalty, some decisions go against them, we get knocked out. But on pure footballing level, quality, system, individual players, Paris Saint-Germain is 1 to 2 levels ahead of Europe. And that was seen. Because even with youngsters coming into the 11, players missing, Paris Saint-Germain still played like Paris Saint-Germain. And I said this before the game, Barca hasn't played a team like us. A team that will control the ball against them and make them suffer and suffocate them in their own yard, in the Mundjukic. And that's what Paris Saint-Germain did. We've done unthinkable stuff to this Barca team. And Barca fans after the game, a lot of them choose Flick as the scapegoat. You know, it's the easy scapegoat to go to. Or you talk about the individual players, obviously, because a lot of players got exposed in this game. A lot of players who maybe you had high expectation on, even including myself, dropped their level in this game. And it was quite seen. I also saw a lot of tweets talking about the athleticism, because I think that was a big thing. I think Paris Saint-Germain are way more athletically. And even Tosin said it. It's funny that this is a Flick Barca side as well, and we're more athletic, because we know how much Flick cares about the athleticism of his team and the intense training sessions and everything. But yeah, as I said, the aim is going back to back. And we've proven so far we can go back to back. In our last 4 Champions League games, I think we are 14-2. Beat Arsenal 2-1. Inter 5-0. Atalanta 4-0. And Barca 2-1. Leverkusen coming up, Bayern. I really want to go 8 out of 8 in the group stage. Now that we're beating Barca. Only Bayern is the huge test. And then other games, obviously, you can still draw points in. But if we just have the focus and mentality, we can go 8 out of 8 and become the first team to ever do that in this new format. With obviously Liverpool being really close before losing their last game. Or drawing last season, I don't remember. But now, we'll go into the individual stuff. I'm going to start with Paris Saint-Germain. First of all, Lucas Chevalier. It's unfortunate he did not get tested. I thought, facing Barca would be a great test for him. But he was good with the ball. He was good, everything apart from shot stopping, because he didn't need to do it this game. But good game from Chevalier. Ashraf Hakimi. Happy that he's back to better levels. It's clear, he's still suffering from fatigue, playing so much across the past 3 seasons with both Paris Saint-Germain and the Moroccan national team. But got a huge assist and, very good performance, both defensively and offensively. His recoveries, this dude hits, over 37 kilometers per hour in top speed. Nobody can chat to Hakimi. Nobody can chat to Hakimi. And then we have Ilya Zabarny, one of the man of the matches from PSG this game. And as I said in my tactical preview, we're going to leave Zabarny alone on an island versus Rashford and be confident in Zabarny, because we want Hakimi to push up. And that's what we did. And that's what Zabarny did. He basically pocketed Rashford. There was only one instance when I remember Rashford sent him and then Pacho was there for the recovery. But Zabarny, impeccable performance. The block he had on that Ferran Torres opportunity. The block, Hakimi had that block. Huge prop to Hakimi from that Olmo opportunity, but Zabarny was right there behind it, potentially blocking that goal as well. Really great performance from Ilya Zabarny. Even his passing towards the end when Barca was intensely pressing Paris Saint-Germain, his ball playing ability was very good. So very happy with Ilya Zabarny. And this is why, in the beginning, I was questioning the signing. I wanted other targets. But then when I saw how much PSG, Lucho, and Campos were pushing for him, I was like, you know what? They know ball. They wouldn't want to spend 66 million. Because before, the Gonçalves, the Colomani's, Gonçalo only Campos wanted them, probably money through Jorge Mendes. Colomani was a Nasser signing. Zabarni, both wanted him. And what a baller. William Pacho. I mean, when will this dude be unanimously called the best centre-back in the world? Because I haven't seen a centre-back perform better than William Pacho since the beginning of last season, especially in the big Champions League games. I heard Gabriel, I heard Saliba, I heard this dude, I heard all of these dudes. But have they done it in the UEFA Champions League? No. Even for the national team, William Pacho is absolutely insane. I think Ecuador finished second in the South American World Cup qualifiers because they're having some golden generation, and Pacho is at the head of it. It's so unfortunate that a PR is what dominates football nowadays, because William Pacho is the best centre-back in the world. And that's just a fact. That is not me being PSG biased. That is me saying, who else? You look at Bayern. Upamecano was injured for the big games. But I rate Opa highly. But it's a bit hard putting him in one. I rated Inigo Martinez highly at Barca, but he obviously left and didn't have the best end into last season. Madrid, no one. Dean Huijsen can become that. Still having some question marks in his game. Go to the Premier League. Van Dijk, past his best. Said this multiple times. If you talk to a Prem fan, they will say Van Dijk is still clearly the best defender in the world. Well, he's not. Konate. He's headed somewhere else. City, Diaz, no. Chelsea, I mean, they have bum centre-backs. Arsenal, Saliba, Gabriel, as I said, I don't rate them as highly as others, but you know what? We can put them in a maybe top 7. I really couldn't care less. But they have not shown anything in their career mustering up to William Pacho. I mean, we saw Arsenal for the first time leave a little bit of space to City, and Gabriel and Saliba looked like bums versus Haaland. And Pacho, he actually pocketed Haaland when we faced City. Obviously, different game, different stuff, but I just want William Pacho to deserve the praise. I think when you look at the entire Paris Saint-Germain team, so many of the players get the PR, the deserved PR, not the undeserved PR. But William Pacho just, now nominated top 30 Ballon d'Or. Well, Van Dijk there because of the PR, the Premier League PR, even though Van Dijk was hella mid against Paris Saint-Germain. But yeah. I think Pacho definitely deserves 2 minutes of absolute prop. What a centre-back he is. Him and Zabarni as a partnership. Even PSG comps made a comp of Zabarni and Pacho together. Insane. Nuno Mendes, as I said, the best left-back in the world. I mean, easily. Was hearing Balde. Was hearing Davies. Was hearing Cucurella. But yeah, Nuno Mendes, I've already said it. I think he's the best left-back I have ever seen in my life. I think he eclipses Roberto Carlos, Marcelo, even fullbacks, Vlam, Maicon, Walker, anyone. Because Nuno Mendes is so good that he could play as a winger and be one of the best wingers in the world. But what does Nuno do? Nuno plays as a left back, still gives you the output as a winger. He didn't push up that much last night, but 2 times he pushed up. De Jong yellow card. I don't know what the insane stuff Nuno would have done after that. And then obviously the huge assist to Seni Mayulu. And it's only Nuno Mendes that can do this in the world. I saw so many tweets where they say, Nuno Mendes is a fake human. He's a fake human. He's basically a FIFA player. He has unlimited pace, unlimited strength, unlimited athleticism, can go right, can go left, can play make, can shoot. I mean, it's like they created him a lab or something. Like Nuno Mendes, man. Since you came to the club, I've understood that your talent is absolutely out of this world. Season after season, he had that time where he was injury prone, his stocks went down, but we all believed in him. Got cooked by Sancho in that game. Even before that, had that Yamal feint. But since then, we've not been looking back. Nuno Mendes, both for PSG and for Portugal. He's basically Portugal's best player. Especially in that Nations League final, like him and Vitinha. And Nuno for Paris Saint-Germain. We should be talking about him as a top 7, top 5 player in the world. Especially when you look at how he impacts big games. Locking up the best wingers in the world. And I saw people say, oh, he didn't lock up Yamal. Let's do this. Yamal went past Nuno Mendes twice, actually. In the first minute. No, in the first minute, he actually went past him, you could say twice. Even though the first one was a little bit fugazi, but I blame that on Nuno. He thought the ball went out. So he went past Nuno, did the thinking on Vitinha and Barcola, then we'll pass Nuno again, and then obviously for the free kick, which some people think is a red card. I don't think it's a red card. I think the only reason Barca fans are saying it's a red card is because they're crying that they lost the game and everything is going against them in UEFA and everything is rigged and everything. But apart from that, Nuno Mendes locked Yamal up. Yamal was supposed to have a generational game. Yamal was supposed to show he's the best player in the world. Yamal was supposed to be impactful. Again, once again, 0 GA in a big game. And this is the best player in the world. Zero impactfulness. Apart from the dribble early on, you could say the free kick he won, and then the outside of the boot to Ferran Torres. What really did he do? So it was a pocket job. It's just that Barca fans are so dishonest. It's very hard for them to say, yeah, you know why he got pocketed. I've never actually seen a Barca fan. Even the Nations League final, where the pocketing was even more egregious, they said no. Spain were marking him with 3 players. What? Nuno Mendes, what a player. Vitinha. And Vitinha is a huge player to talk about because it's the mentality. First half, bad. And obviously, error led to goal. The only goal that Barca scored in the game came from a Vitinha mistake. Barca does really well from his mistake. Yamal takes the ball, waits a little bit, gives it Pedri to Rashford. Rashford immediately to Ferran. Beautiful goal. But that just shows when you make mistakes at the highest level, it will cost you. If this was a Liga game, we would have just recovered the ball. But in the big UCL games, especially against a team like Barca, we will pay for our mistakes. But Vitinha, second half, bomb. He does not let that mistake keep dragging on him. And that second half, beautiful. And I've seen a lot of Vitinha-Pedri comparisons. And I can say Pedri had a better first half. But, I mean, both were quite mid. Vitinha even worse, obviously, with the mistake. But Vitinha in the second half was better than Pedri. I wanted to say 90 minutes, but Pedri obviously went off. So, yeah, Vitinha was the better player in this game. And that's the main reason I think Vitinha is better than Pedri. Because I can be honest, I think Pedri aesthetically, especially some of the stuff that he does with the ball manipulation, the ball movement, it's like, oof, I don't know if Vitinha can do that. But the big thing with Vitinha, why I will always put him above Pedri, at least in recent time, is because of the mentality in the big games. It's a mentality in the big games. Vitinha just has that mentality. He has a stronger mentality than Pedri. And Pedri, when the game goes against him, as we've seen sometimes the game goes against Vitinha, he falls down a bit. We didn't see anything from Pedri last night. Why? Because he was completely taken out of the game with the insane press by Warren and the entire Paris Saint-Germain team. But going back to Vitinha, I love that mentality coming back. And the thing with Vitinha, I said it. He was going to start. I knew that, but he was not 100% fit. But we had to have him in this game. And Vitinha, man, take some rest. Do not play him in the little game. Warren Zaire Emery, decent game. We're seeing is steadily improvement this season. This is a big game as well. So very happy for Warren Zaire Emery, filling the spot in for João Neves. And just keep going, Warren. I'm loving the positive trajectory. Just keep it going, Warren, and we will support you every single day, Warren. Very happy with the performance. Fabian Ruiz, absolute genius. On a pitch with Warren Zaire Emery, Vitinha, Pedri, Dani Olmo, De Jong. This was the best midfielder. One of the most underrated players alongside Pacho. They just don't have that PR. And Fabian Ruiz is a bit weird. He was Euro player of the tournament. He was insane in the UCL knockout stages last season. He was insane in the Club World Cup. And has been probably PSG's best player so far this season. I mean, he's been absolutely insane. Like the touches he had, the passes, the stuff that he did. Fabian Ruiz. I think Fabian Ruiz is what maybe Barca fans think De Jong is. This press resistant ball progressor. That's also very good defensively. That's Fabian Ruiz. I mean, he's an absolute genius. I mean, I'm so happy. I always believed in Fabian Ruiz. Even when we had bad performances, I understood his talent. I just had patience for when it was going to click, especially after watching that Euros. And now it's clicking. And I remember when I made my combined 11, I had Fabian Ruiz. I think he ended last season better maybe than Neves and started off the season better than Neves, even though Neves has also been insane. And Barca fans will say, ding dong. And we'll come to that. We'll come to the ding dong punishment, man. But shout out to Fabian Ruiz, man. What a midfielder and potentially best player for PSG so far this season. Then we'll come to the attack. The youngsters. Ibrahima Mbaye. 17-year-old. But yeah, very happy with Ibrahima Mbaye. Again, steady improvement is what we're going to see. And this is a huge game. But Luis Enrique showed his trust in Ibrahima Mbaye. And Ibrahim Mbaye paid him back, sending Kunde eating grass. But it wasn't, an insane performance from Mbaye and everything. But, starting, it was his first Champions League start against Barca. And he did it, man. So I think the Paris Saint-Germain Academy got a lot of prop today. Warren Zara Emre having a decent game. And Mbaye being good. And then Seni Mayulu. We watched back the Seni Mayulu camp and wow. That goal, takes the touch with his right foot, finishes it with his left. There's one, he did a croqueta nutmeg on Ding Dong. It's Dembouz, but a different version of him, but very similar. Playmake, score, both feet, great movement, dropping deep. Wonderful performance from Seni Mayulu. And it's unfortunate we don't have the La Masia PR, but I guess that comes with time because our academy, the talent they're coming through, top players. Top players. And I always make the similarities to City. Ever since Pep came in, City's academy has become this insane academy, having insane players that other teams buy for a lot of money as well. And I think the same is going to happen here, but maybe even better talents, because we all know Paris is the epicenter of footballing talent. Bradley Barcola, conversations truly need to be had. He's been here for a while. I love Bradley Barcola. I want him to shine. And I'm not thinking about selling him or anything. But I think Bradley Barcola needs to understand his situation, and he can't be doing this. You can't be outperformed by Ibrahim Mbaye and Seni Mayulu. That's just unacceptable, Bradley Barcola. It's just unacceptable. It's embarrassing at the biggest stage. When Khvicha, Dewey, Dembouz all are missing, I'm not looking at Mayulu and Mbaye, I'm looking at you to be the leader and them to follow you along. But we were barely following along them. Mayulu was the leader. So, Bradley Barcola, you gotta start doing it. You gotta be mad at yourself. You gotta look at yourself in the mirror and say, this is not good enough. I need to improve. I can't be embarrassing myself like this, especially in big games. Going up to the Barca team. So, as we all know, majority of football fans, not just Barca fans, majority of football fans do not understand football. They watch football, they love their team, but they don't understand football. And, when they blame stuff, it's more out of emotion rather than logic. So me not being a Barca fan is actually good. There's no emotion attached to this Barca team. So I'll be completely unbiased and tell you guys, at least from your player standpoint. Because we can talk about the Flick criticism. We can talk about Flick going all out pressing in the last minute. Pressing Kangili got it to Vitinha. And then it's that offside, haram line. Hakimi gets it and we score a goal. Maybe don't press like crazy in the last minute. I know PSG would never do that. If the game was 1-1, I think we just kept it 1-1. We were even thinking about it on the pod. And maybe you can talk about some other stuff. But one thing I criticized Flick before the game was the squad selection in terms of Eric Garcia instead of Araujo and Ferran instead of Leva. And Eric Garcia, I've seen a lot of Barca fans say he had the best performance and out of any Barca player. And Ferran Torres, scored a goal. It was good from pressing and had good moments and so on. So had a big chance as well. But it's a huge block from Zabarni. So I can't even criticize Flick for that. I was wrong. Now let's go into the team. Juan Garcia was obviously out. Chesney came in goal. And I've seen Barca fans slander Chesney. Like, we can, if PSG lose a game 3-1 and Chevalier is not costly for any of them, I'm not going to slander him. But I saw Barca fans slander Chesney because he didn't make amazing saves for the 2 goals that we scored. Or Juan Garcia would have saved the second Gonzalo chance and everything. Maybe. Gonzalo's really good. Garcia's really good, especially on close range. We've seen 1v1s like that. He's saved. There's a high chance he would have considered that too. So I don't understand the harsh criticism on Chesney. A backup keeper, may I say. If Safonov came in, I would have been even nicer to Safonov, who hasn't played the game so far this season, who is, not at the same level as Chevalier. But that's the Barca fans. Jules Koundé, he took him a while coming in as a starter. Has had some decent, good games. I saw he got some insane PR. I saw a Newcastle fan that said Jules Koundé has had the best fullback performance he's ever seen when they faced Newcastle. Which was just insane to read, man. People genuinely do not understand football. But Jules Koundé honestly didn't have that bad of a game. You see 5.8 rating. You see Mbaye dropping Koundé down. But apart from that, Nuno also cooked Koundé once. But apart from that, I felt Koundé was decent, Nothing really bad, nothing really good, just a mid-pack. Martin, decent as well. I remember once got cooked by Hakimi, but the shot got blocked later. And I saw him as a potential weakness in this Barca defense. And Paris Saint-Germain didn't really, abuse Martin in this game or anything. So it was a decent game for Martin, especially coming in as a backup to Balde. So once again, nothing with him. Eric Garcia, yeah, I guess decent game as well. No critique on him. So far, I don't think any valid criticism. This dude, valid criticism. And I'm someone, I think that I've overrated Kubarsi. And I think finally I got my reality check. Because defensively, he's so bad. Obviously, it's hard when you face a team like PSG and when your midfield double pivot is De Jong and Pedri and Olmo as a midfielder. It's going to be harder for Pau Kubarsi. But looking at his mistakes, the penalties he's giving away, how he ended the Inter tie, his start to this season, and then obviously the mistakes he made this game, I mean, he was just getting cooked left, right, and center, especially when we watched the full comps. There was once he was following Mayulu just bodied him. Once he followed Barcola just nutmegged him. The thing, you can still have Pau Kubarsi as a starter, and this is the thing again. You gotta make this valid excuse for Barca. They do not have the economic. They do have the money. They just can't use it, and then you have to rely on these youngsters, and you can't go out and buy. We bought Zabarni. Barca can't go out and buy Zabarni. But obviously, losing Inigo Martinez and not even trying to replace him was a huge question mark from FC Barcelona in the summer transfer window. Relying on Garcia, Kubarsi, Araujo is not rated, and Christensen, who is always injury prone. So, in that sense, from the club's perspective, it's a bit unfortunate that Kubarsi is starting games like this and getting cooked like this, but he's not at that level and he needs to gain a lot of experience. Maybe there's a reason why De La Fuente does not start him for the Spanish national team as well. But he got a little bit exposed, and I would say, no, I don't rate Kubarsi as highly as I used to do. He will have to up his performances. Then we come to this double pivot, which, best double pivots in the world. And I watched comps. I remember when Nuno cooked, when De Jong tackled him, he just breezed past this double pivot like it was nothing. I saw a clip when Zabarni breezed past Pedri and De Jong like it was nothing. And that's one thing I've come to. Madrid's double pivot, like a Tchouaméni Valverde, we're always slandering for not being great with the ball. But one thing we can prop it for is being great off the ball. That's the opposite to this midfield. Great on the ball. I mean, two of the most technical midfielders in the world. But off the ball, absolutely horrendous. I mean, Pedri is a cone. The thing with Pedri is he compensates for that with, being very good on the ball. We had to foul him so many times. We had to go into duels with him so many times as well. Why? Because Pedri is so good. Even Luis Enrique said that after the conference. Pedri is a top player. Top player. So we had to get Pedri out of the game. But De Jong, we didn't really have to do something. I remember De Jong gets the ball from the centre-backs, trying to progress it upwards, and PSG just sent Fabian to press him, and De Jong just passed it back to the centre-back. He didn't do his job as midfielder with the ball, and off the ball, he was absolutely horrendous. Picking up that yellow card on Nuno Mendes, which could have potentially been a red card, and just being a traffic cone in that midfield. So I've said this multiple times. Go back to every single Barcelona review I've had when I discussed De Jong. This is not a Champions League winning double pivot. De Jong has been at Barca for 7 years, since 1920. And has been absolutely mid. And as they say, as Einstein said, a madman is someone that does the same thing over and over again and expects a different result. De Jong will just give you the same thing he's been giving you for the past years. And right before the game, we got the news that he extended at FC Barcelona, which once again is completely unacceptable with the wages that he's had and the performances and the results he's had over the past seasons. This is not an agenda against De Jong. This is nothing personal. And if you're a Barca fan watching this, just think about what I'm saying instead of immediately fighting back. No, don't say like that, but De Jong, I like De Jong. Be honest. Because if I was a Barca fan, I would have wanted De Jong out a long time ago. I guess Barca's best plan, as I mentioned, Bernal. Bernal profile-wise with Pedri, that's a functioning double pivot. But Paris Saint-Germain either play... I mean, we play a three-man midfield, so it's a bit different, but we play Vitinha Warren or Vitinha Neves. That's a double pivot that works. Someone that's great with the ball, a.e. Pedri, and someone that's great off the ball, a.e. João Neves or Warren. That's what Barca are missing in their double pivot. But you can have someone like Neves, who's a cheat code because he's amazing defensively and still very good with the ball. Obviously not, Pedri, Vitinha levels, but still very good with the ball. So those are the kinds of players that Barca need. They're more a box-to-box midfielder. There's absolutely no point having De Jong in this midfield because in big games, when the opposition will have attacks, his defensive flawness, he's so bad off the ball, his recoveries are so bad as well. There's no point playing him. And when I saw De Jong playing and everything, and the captain of the team as well, gotta go. And he was asked last time we played you guys as well. Pedri was coming back from an injury last time and everything. And Pedri was still better than De Jong this game. I mean, Pedri was a threat. Every time Pedri got on the ball, I was like, Warren, go and run and mark him. When De Jong had the ball, I was like, yeah, you can let him be because De Jong is not going to progress the ball. That's not what De Jong is. But Barca's opinion changed in the beginning of this season and say, oh, De Jong has been cooking this season for, I don't know what he did versus Newcastle. And then when he got that beautiful assist, what was it, versus Valencia or something, to Lewandowski, that header, Oviedo, maybe Real Oviedo, great cross, great assist, but why would that change the narrative of De Jong, which is he's been absolutely ass, especially in big European games for Barca. But, yeah. Dani Olmo, I talked about this before. Look, the first thing, Dani Olmo is a very injury-prone player. And, that's not his fault. That's his body. He can't do that much. I think he's working hard in training. I don't think Dani Olmo wants to be injured. I think he wants to be on the pitch and wants to be impactful. But the thing is, when you're injury prone, one thing you got to make sure is to be good when you're at the pitch. Obviously, Neymar, completely different player. He was injured so many times. But every time Neymar was on the pitch, it was Neymar. Marco Verratti, heavy injury prone. But when he was on the pitch, he was Marco Verratti. The thing with Dani Olmo, heavy injury prone. So you're already missing so many big games and important games where Barca needs you. But then when you get to play, like Inter second leg, like this game right here, you put up an absolute generational stinker. Didn't do anything in this game. Missed a huge opportunity right here. Great block, obviously, from Hakimi and Zabarni and Sowamba. I mean, you're expecting Barca to steal the game in that chance right there. And that was one big chance that Barca had in this game. And that's another thing I want to come to. The thing with Barca this game, despite them being mid, especially in that second half, Barca still got these chances. And that's why I was sitting on my seat like this. Even though we were controlling that second half, I was sitting on my seat like this, vibrating. Because I knew any point this Barca team can get a goal out of absolutely nowhere. So, Olmo not taking that chance and just being very poor in the game. His shooting, his passing, everything was very poor in this game. Yeah, and should Barca already think about moving away from him? I mean, paying 60 million for an injury-prone Dani Olmo was very questionable. He's a great player. We saw that at the Euros. But now that he's not even performing, question marks. Obviously, Fermin out for a while now, so Dani Olmo will be starting the El Clasico as well. So he got to pull up. He got to push up. Rashford, I felt he was the best attacker this game for Barca. Caused some threat down that left-hand side. Should have taken the free kick. I don't know why Yamal took it. Rashford could have maybe popped that into the net. I was a little bit scared of that. He got actually a beautiful assist. First time pass immediately to Ferran Torres instead of, thinking about it or something. Absolutely beautiful. I think he has like 6 GA in his last 6 games, or a GA in every game in his last 6 games. So, but I thought he would be more threatening, honestly, in this game. I think Zabarni did a good job on him. And, yeah, I mean, this is just the difference between, a Getafe, Mallorca, and Paris Saint-Germain. Now we come to Yamal last. Ferran Torres, great goal. And I think he pressed well, movement well, had this big opportunity. I don't know, maybe some Barca fans blame that on him, but, that goal was a copy goal of the Copa del Rey goal Barca scored. Yamal outside of the foot, Ferran, bam, 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 goal. The only difference here is Paris Saint-Germain do not employ 35-year-old Rudiger. We employ primetime Zabarni. So that was the main difference. But Ferran Torres, I mean, you can't expect more. He got the goal and he had a decent game. It was the right decision to start him ahead of Lewandowski, especially with the pressing and everything. And now last thing we come to Lamine Yamal. I think there's been a lot of defending on his performance. But, the first thing is Yamal is setting himself up for this. Some players can just have a bad game. And you would just say, hey, he had a bad game. But when you put up the stories, when you are making a dribble in the first minute and go to the crowd like this, you are targeting yourself. You're targeting yourself, Yamal, and you can't be targeting yourself when you don't perform. He looks really bad. It is very arrogant, and it would be just much better if he talked on the pitch instead of talking on social media. I think I know what you think it's funny or something. You can send that picture to your friends or something, but posting it online in front of everyone, basically putting a target on yourself. They even asked Vitinha after the game about this Instagram story. That's how childish it's gotten. But then going about his performance, very lively in the beginning, having that dribble, creating that Ferran opportunity, and then in the second half, winning that free kick outside of the box. But apart from those three actions, and the first one was, irrelevant because after that he made, I think, a wrong pass and it didn't lead to anything, those dribbles. But it's just the impactfulness. And one thing we saw today, which I discussed with Junior on the pod, is I always call Yamal inefficient. And this game proved the inefficiency. Why? Because how many touches did Yamal get this game? 69 touches. Usually gets way more than that. If you look how many touches he got versus Inter, at least 100. He got insane usage. He just got the ball. Dribble, again. Even that game, obviously, didn't get a GA. But this game, there wasn't those touches. Barca many times did not have the ball or could not find Yamal or was defended well by Nuno or even Lucas Hernandez. He had Lucas Hernandez on him the last 30 minutes, a player that has had 3 ACLs and couldn't go past him. But I'm supposed to believe Yamal had actually a good game, an underrated game. This is just the defending. It was the same thing with Messi fans, I remember. I never saw Messi fans say Messi had a bad game when he was at PSG. Never happened. Because these fans are so tribalistic and everything. Like, I remember PSG Brest. Dembouz scored a brace in that game. 2 good goals as well. And I said he had a bad game. Why? Because everything else was not clicking. Why? Because I have high standard. If I'm going to call Dembele the best player in the world, I got to have high standard on him. I can't be lying. And even when we sit there on the pod, it's like, no, Dembouz was still... I'm like, yo, I have high standards of Dembouz. I can't call him the best in the world. I can't say Ousmane Ballon d'Or if I'm going to be nice to him when he drops a stinker. We got to be harsh. And people has to be harsh. This was just not good performance. And the thing with Yamal, he has one valuable excuse. He hadn't played football for like 3 weeks. He was out injured. Coming back, only got substitute minutes in the recent Sociedad game. But once again, just don't put targets on yourself. Don't do that to yourself. Just play football. It is not harder than that. But, yeah, you know what? When it comes to Barca, I said it before the game, it's going to be Pedri, Yamal, Rashford doing anything special in this game. And what Paris Saint-Germain just did is Zabarni had a great game against Rashford. Warren just pressed Pedri really tight. Pedri, I mean, I saw a picture of his legs. He was absolutely cooked from the tackles and fouls PSG made. And Yamal just got shut down and mentally collapsed, especially in that second half. And yeah, to blame Barca, to answer the question, why did Paris Saint-Germain beat FC Barcelona? I think the simplest question or answer to that is, I think PSG's system is better than Barcelona's system. Even though Barcelona's system could still have won this game with the chances they had, because they're just always go after an opportunity. That's the first thing. Control over high intensity. Second thing is, despite the injuries and everything, PSG missing a little bit more players as well, the quality between the two teams is more. When you look at the Barca team, you have Pedri, you have Yamal, you have Rashford, individual ability. You should be having Olmo if he's performing at his level, and you should be having Koundé. But it genuinely feels like it's, you got Pedri, you got Yamal, and then you got Rafinha, and then you got maybe 2 players, and then you're just putting a bunch of system players around them. But when you look at the Paris Saint-Germain team, despite playing some youngsters that have never played, I mean, Mayolo's second start in the UCL and Bayer first start, you have top players in every single position. I mean, look at the fullbacks. The fullbacks got an assist each. I have Champions League fantasy. These were the 2 first defenders I put. Why? Because, I mean, they're absolutely insane. And we said this before the game. Do not count out the fullbacks of Paris Saint-Germain. Got an assist each. 8.2, 8.1. Barca don't have that threat. Even when you put Abalde has never had a performance like this, and we never have that. So, and that, obviously, you can talk about economically Barca, why they can't match up against the PSG, because, you know, Barca are still in economic ruins, are still over 1 billion in debt and trying to fix that situation. So maybe it's that. But I want us to face in the knockout stage. I want a rematch of this game with everyone fit, because Barca, as I've said, despite them being, you know, mid in this game, they still created opportunities. They still created a lot of danger. We had to be focused the entire 90 minutes defensively. Zabarni, Hakimi, other players had to make important blocks and recoveries. So I'm very excited for this game to be replayed. I think Barca will learn a lot. Now that they've played us, they will know how to play against us again. But we will also know about Barca's weaknesses and so on, and obviously we will be stronger with our entire team available. So I can't wait for this match to be played again between the two teams, and I still believe Paris Saint-Germain will win. But as I said, this Barca team is very dangerous, and if Yamal has a better performance, and if Rafinha is there, who's actually their Champions League player. Now Yamal was their Inter player, Rafinha was their Champions League player. So if Rafinha is there, that obviously makes a difference. And Juan Garcia, we've seen how much he's saving Barca recently. He could be big in that goal as well. So, yeah, and next time be humble. I'll be humble, because when it comes to Paris Saint-Germain playing against, I don't know, the top 4 best teams in the world, I'm always humble, because I know these teams have a likelihood of beating us. Just be humble next time. I didn't see a single Barca fans going into the equation of Paris Saint-Germain beating Barca. And that is the arrogance that has to stop. Because, yes, we were missing all of those players, but we were not missing Hakimi and Nuno. We were not missing Pacho Zabane. And I said all of this. I said all of this in every single preview, in every single tactical video I made. I said we still have all of these weapons. Why are you acting? A lot of people said PSG's B team. No, we had a B attack. Yes, Neves didn't start, but Paris Saint-Germain had their best starting 11 with a B attack. That's it. That was it. We still had Paris Saint-Germain. Luis Enrique was still in the stands. So, yeah, it's like they set themselves up for failure. Talk about 3-0, 4-1, and all of that. But yeah, that's been it about last night. Hopefully, you guys have enjoyed this big video. More Paris Saint-Germain Barcelona content coming out. So make sure to stay tuned for that. And as usual, allez, Paris.